Hello and welcome to Fantasy Fives, a podcast where I get one of my esteemed guests or someone who will answer one of my text messages to come on and talk about their dream five-a-side football team. This week, I'm joined by the legend of Scottish comedy that is Darren Connell. Darren is one of the most naturally funny people I've ever seen in my life. He's sitting opposite me and he's actually quite enjoying this as I say it. You might know him from Scott Squad. My mates know you as Baby Mermaid,
Yes.
which is an old bit of yours. Darren, how are we?
I'm very good, Ray. Thank you very much for asking me on and for the lovely compliments as
It's
well.
all right. I have loved your stand-up for so long. I think you're genuinely, I say this to lots of people we're talking about before you come in, one of the most naturally funny people. I think you, Mearns, Paul McDaniel.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm in good company.
Yeah.
Also, a really bad five-a-side team.
Paul McDaniel and goals would be amazing.
Aye.
He'd have the wee goggles on, it'd be good. So, because you've been doing stand-up for ages and you're about to do the King's Theatre,
Yeah.
you shiting it?
No, I'm really excited. I think it's one of those moments where I've done so many rough gigs that I'm just like, I'm not going to let my fear ruin this.
Yeah, do you do well in rough gigs?
I do well, but, you know, sometimes they're not enjoyable. But they've benefited me over the years.
Yeah.
Like the gig we done last night, that was a great gig, but there
was
was
fun.
like 20 people there,
Yeah, great.
you know.
I did one to 8 people recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I worked out I was getting paid £16 per audience member. I was
Yeah.
like, why am I here?
That's
What is the point? It was all right, but you know that gig's not happening again. It's also shite when it's your name in the poster and 8 people turn up.
Yeah. I'm like, who's that? I've been doing it for 15 years. Who's that guy?
So you're doing that show. What else have you been up to? People know you from Scott Squad. How often are you getting recognised from that?
Well, it's quite funny because producer Paul, anytime I've got a comedian in, people always talk about my Baby Mermaid joke. I'll probably do it at the King's.
It's
just as
iconic, mate. It's worth buying a ticket for that alone. Worth buying a ticket for that alone.
Just because I've never done it in a venue that size, I would just like to do it. And I've got access to props and stuff, so I'm like,
I've seen, so it's just one joke that could theoretically last, 10, 15 seconds. I've seen you do it for like 2-3 minutes over the time.
Yeah.
And then, so this is obviously your dream five-a-side football team. What does football mean to you?
I enjoy football. You asked us about Scott Squad, if people
Sorry,
recognise us.
Yeah.
Aye, if I'm wearing my glasses, I do. I mean, other BBC producers don't recognise me with Scott Squad. I'm kidding up. If I'm wearing my glasses outside, I get recognised. If I'm wearing my contact lenses, I never get recognised.
That's mad, isn't
Yeah.
it? Literally, it's just a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
And what they shouting, Officer Karen, is that what you get?
Aye, or if it's in Glasgow, it's just pure, yeah.
Just noises.
Yeah, hey. Jolly Boy John. I get that all the time.
I forgot about Jolly Boy John.
Yeah.
That's not even you.
No,
No.
I get it all the time.
Do you?
I get, you're related to Ian Connell quite a lot. And at the start, I was pure, no, but I do respect him. But now I'm just like, aye, mate, he's my cousin. After 10 years.
Have you met him?
Aye.
And
He's brand new.
Are you related in any way?
Not related, but he is a weirdo. So I'm like, he's probably related.
Yeah.
He has a Connell. He's got the Connell vibe.
What's the Connell vibe? What is it?
Weirdo.
Like how? Yeah. fair.
Socially awkward, very talented, but gets like overstimulated in public and stuff. I'm like,
So-
he's a second cousin.
Because you, Celtic, you're a Celtic fan. Celtic had a player called Luca Connell. Do you remember him?
Yes, I do.
Were you like weirdo?
Aye. He was a bit of a weirdo, wasn't he? Dead quiet. Some he'd a hair on him as well.
I did. Yeah.
My attitude has changed towards football. See, back
Okay.
in the day, I would watch any game. I'd watch the Champions League. I had a major soft spot for Man United.
Why?
I think it was because of Alex Ferguson, but I loved Keane and just like Paul Scholes and stuff, and
Paul Scholes.
even Michael Carrick. I've always kind of loved Carrick and
Okay.
stuff. But then Man U get really poor, and the wages changed to like 300 grand
Yeah.
a week, and they're all terrible. So
Yeah.
I used to love like just watching any game of football, but now I'm a Celtic fan, and really I just watch Celtic. now.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, and I'm fascinated to know the answer. Say wages have changed to 300 grand a week. How many weeks or years do you think you would live if you were on 300 grand a week? How quickly is your life over?
Probably after the first week.
You going that?
Yeah. And because I don't drink or anything, so I'd die like taking vitamin jags or something.
You're so with that.
You'd find me in like a vitamin clinic in Thailand. Like he died taking a dirty needle full of fucking vitamin D. Sorry, are you allowed to swear? Sorry.
Yes, you are. Yeah, I've sworn twice, don't worry. Right, okay, so we're getting your five-a-side team. So I've asked you, the rules are you have to have the manager from your phone book, a player from the team you support. So I take it we're going Celtic as opposed to Man U.
Yeah.
For the play of that. A team name. What's your team name? What are you going for?
So I put into Chat GPT.
Did you? First person to do this?
I was like, give me a name for my five-a-side team. And one of them is Sons of Connell.
I quite like that. They've just been watching Sons of Anarchy, haven't they? And just thought that'll be it. Sons of Connell, right? Okay, so that'll be a weird kind of. What did you describe the Connell family as?
I just put. I wish I could say something funny here. I was just like, can you do something that rhymes? And it's my five-a-side team.
And it didn't even rhyme. They just used the name.
And I might be giving away a clue here, but one of them's called Donald's Connells as well. That's another.
Donald's Connells. Okay, so Sons of Connell. I like that. What formation are you going to be playing in this team? You've got a goalie. Then, to be honest, it doesn't really matter because it's fluid. But are you going 1-2-1, 2-1-1, 1-1-1-1-1?
I would like to think that they're so talented that we don't need a formation. Apart from the keeper being in goals.
Guardiola in it.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate Pep Guardiola.
One-touch football as well. In fact, I'm not the manager actually.
No. But it's your philosophy.
Yeah.
It's you've created this in your head.
One touch.
So they're only ever allowed to do one touch.
I
love how you're making it
and
hard.
I believe that they can do this.
I love how you're making it harder for the Sons of Connell already.
Or Donald's Connells.
Yeah, that's their alter egos. Right, okay, let's get to goalie. Goalkeeper, who's your goalie?
Kasper Schmeichel.
Okay, so this is your Celtic pick?
Yep.
Okay. What was your thoughts when Celtic signed Kasper Schmeichel?
I was happy. Like, I can understand why people were annoyed, but I thought he's an international goalkeeper and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
And I just think Celtic fans, there's an element of the Celtic fans that are just quite ungrateful and stuff. So they instantly went with like, he's finished. But I was aware
He's Danish. That's such a bad joke.
That actually hurt my soul.
I could be a Connell now. This is great.
I thought he was a great keeper. I think he's still a great keeper. He showed that he's great.
Yeah.
And I think he's better than Joe Hart as well.
Okay, how does he relate to your Rab Douglases, your Arthur Boruches along the way?
He's up there. Rab Douglas, to me, I'm sure he's a nice guy. When I was doing Dundee Panto, actually, he walked past me in the street. So I was like, hey!
Is this a celebrity anecdote you're bringing?
I seen Rab Douglas in Dundee 10 years ago.
And I love that you remember that. That is like exactly the kind of thing I would remember.
And the fact that I was buzzing as well, but I was like, no way, man, Rab Douglas, give him tickets to the Panto.
What's it like doing Panto? Is it fun?
Panto's amazing, mate. It's a proper graft as well. It's a hard graft, but it's good fun, mate. If you ever get a chance, I would say
I would hate to do it, I think. I'd like the money.
Yeah.
I'd like the money, but nah, I don't think it's for me. Anyway, so back to goalies. Do you think, because you were saying you watched Man U in the kind of late 90s, early 90s stuff, is Kasper better than Peter?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think his dad's been romanticised with what he's achieved, like the treble at Man U. Have you watched there's a thing on Amazon Prime.
92.
92.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to get better than that.
Yeah, and he comes across quite badly in it at points because he's like, I didn't realise he retired mid-season and all that kind of stuff.
And then going to Man City as well. That was strange.
Would you?
He might be a Connell, actually.
I think he'd just go bigger and bigger.
Aye.
Yeah, that Donald Trump. I think he might be a Connell. Just go that way. Is there other celebrities that you've looked at and thought he could be in my family? Like, because you're saying Ian Connell is like, do you ever look at like a Darius Dinesh or we can go bigger. How do you get bigger than George Alagaya in the newsreader?
I used to get people before time ravaged me. I used to, and when I wear my contact lenses, people said I looked like Robbie Williams. So
human or ape form?
Drug when he was.
Not even one.
Carbs and drugs when he was going through that stage.
That'd be a good tour show. Carbs and drugs when I was going through that stage.
I can play him in the other movie when he was
he's
in
like
rehab.
When he's winching Jerry Halliwell and all that.
Aye,
Is that who you went out with? I think it was.
I think so.
I think so, yeah. Right, okay, so you're going Kasper Schmeichel and goals. You've got a fluid formation, so there's no defender as such. Have you got a defensive-minded player in this team?
Let me just get the team up. I've put it in my notes.
Then I'm intrigued by this because
I would say, to go back to Kasper Schmeichel, I'd say his dad's better.
Okay.
There wouldn't be Kasper if there wasn't his dad. There's a lot of there.
That's
same
genetically
kind of
true.
stuff. Aye. He came for his boys. Like, it's actual science. Right.
It's actual science.
No, it is, but when you think about it,
It is. I'm not denying it.
I've not really got a defensive player,
Okay.
to
That's
be
fine.
honest.
You don't need one?
I think there's defense. There would be in a game of fives. I think it would be good.
Okay, so who's your next player in this team?
JJ Okocha.
Oh, yes.
Actually, I do have a defensive player.
We'll get them next. So
Right.
let's do JJ then. JJ Okocha. Why JJ Okocha?
Absolutely incredible for a couple of years when he played for Bolton. But imagine that talent on a five-a-side pitch.
Unreal.
This is the type of, you know how like when you're a wee guy and you go to Toonhead Pits to play a game of fives and there's like 5 adult men in the team playing against wee guys and they're all amazing.
Yeah.
That's the type of vibe that he would give. And you kind of get a touch of the ball. One of them scores 32 goals. Like, I think he'd be like that.
In an hour.
Aye. The guy was incredible for a poor team, I would say.
Yep.
As well.
He was so good. He was so good.
Yeah.
And do you like your players to be this kind of like fancy flicky type of player?
I must say I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I'm nothing like that when I played football.
What were you like when you played?
I would say I was more like Neil Lennon
Just
towards the end.
Just chewing snus.
Aye. Getting attacked off fans.
So that's your legacy.
I've got a humble brag. I used to play five-a-sides with my pal at Toonhead, and they were all really good. And I think I played in the team for 4 years, and I only ever scored 1 goal. So that is
literally the opposite of a humble brag, by the way.
Well, the goal was from my own half. It was a
Nice.
big dirty toe poke, and it was a total fluke.
Okay.
And see, when it went in as well, I whipped my tap off and everything. I was like nearly greeting and all that. I was like, ah.
Were they celebrating with you?
They were just like, that was mental how that happened. Because I'd be like, sometimes I would like kick the ball or open goals and stuff and be tripped near my
Just
feet.
cursed.
I'd be all right at defending and like passing at the back and stuff. But when it came to trying to score, I would be shit.
Would
Terrible.
you, if you're playing in a game against someone like JJ Okocha, if you say you're good at defending, how would you approach it? Would you try tackle him or would you just let him do his thing and score against you each time?
I'd be like, you know how you get the defenders that just like blatantly punch people in the throat and all that? That's what I'd be doing. Like grabbing him down, like grabbing his shirt off his back and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really hard to defend against somebody like that.
Right, so it's a good start so far. So we get Kasper Schmeichel, we get JJ Okocha. Who's your next one?
Right, so I'd go to the defender,
Okay.
Ian Hart.
Oh, this is a personal choice for me. I love this. Why have you chosen Ian Hart?
I always loved him, and I wanted him to play for Celtic for years, and he was just a free kick specialist.
Yeah.
And he was just a great player for Leeds and for Ireland, and he was never ever poor, even when he was older, and I think he went out to Spain and stuff.
I went to Levante.
Aye, and he done well. I never watched him when he played for Levante, but I always used to see his name pop up.
You're not a big Levante guy?
I used to see his name pop up in Sky Sports. I'm like, no way, man, he's still scoring goals. So I would have him as my left
He
back.
scored the first ever Premier League goal I saw in a stadium. So Leeds against Derby, he scored, and I think it was like Georgie Kincladze or someone that scored for Derby. But again, it was a free kick. And I was like 9 or 10 away with the Cubs. And I watched this guy and I was like, this is phenomenal, man. Do you feel, as a Celtic fan, you need to have an Irish player in this, or is this a coincidence?
Maybe. I wouldn't say it was because he was Irish. Maybe when I was younger and in school, I was like, get him in his republic. He's one of us. Even though I was born in Springburn, he's one of us.
With Ian Hart, Free kicks. Who's been the best free kick taker you've seen in your lifetime? Do you think it is Ian Hart? Also, for set pieces, Ian Hart and JJ Okocha will be fighting over them.
The both of them are fantastic. Who's the best that I've seen? I don't know, man. That is hard, isn't it? I mean, Ronaldo was good when he was younger. I feel.
I hate Ronaldo.
I don't like him now. No,
So
for the
my-
last 10 years, he's.
My son's 5, and every YouTube video just now seems to be an American kid saying, like for Ronaldo,
Yeah.
follow for Messi. And you're like, nah, I'm not having that. Nakamura must be up there for you, I'd imagine.
Nakamura was fantastic. Lubo as well. I think he was good.
I played in Chris Dillon's testimonial, and my first touch was stopping Lubomir Moravcik from nutmegging me. And I was lucky because I think he was still full of bevy from the night before.
That's
so
amazing.
it was all right. So, right, let's go through the team. Schmeichel, Hart, Okocha. Who is the next one in the Sons of Connell?
Do you know Serge for Kasabian? he's always like scoring worldies. He looks like he plays for a bevy as well, and he's still incredible.
That's right. Okay. So why have you picked Serge Pizzorno from Kasabian?
Mate, I think if he, I'm not saying he takes ecstasy, right? But see if he never took ecstasy and drank alcohol, I think he'd be able to play as a professional footballer.
I think he was in like a youth system when he Leicester or something like that. I think he might have
Was
been.
he?
I think so.
Anytime I see him, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's playing against like fat Z-list celebrities, so I'm sure he would look amazing.
Yeah,
but he scored like an overhead kick once at a charity football game.
Yeah, I've seen him score in Soccer Aid. He scored like an unbelievable chip. I've seen him in Soccer AM firing in the top corner. How do you think he would get on with JJ Okocha?
I think they're probably similar in playing sense.
Yeah.
I think they'll do well.
Do you think so far you've got your 4 players? You've got Serge from Kasabian, JJ Okocha, Ian Hart, Cash Schmeichel. Who do you think would be controlling the music pre-game?
So a lot of people would say Serge. I think Kasper Schmeichel's probably into some good tunes.
I think he's into house. What do you think he's into?
I don't know. He seems like a bit of a lad, doesn't he? So house, maybe Oasis and stuff. I think.
And do you think Serge would be okay with Oasis?
I think he'd probably sit there in silence, like, what you doing?
And what's Ian Hart doing at this point? Has he got his own headphones in? Is he just listening to Kneecap? Like, what's he doing?
He's drinking Lucozade. Thinking about the old times.
Sport or fizzy?
Fizzy.
Oh, he's old school.
Oh, aye. Leeds State. We're talking about Leeds here. He was eating fucking packets of gammon before they go into the pitch.
Oh, it's so good. And also, my favourite part of that is that surprised you, the gammon bit, and you laugh after because you didn't know what was coming. Right, so you've got a dressing room right now. You've got Serge from Kasabian, who I presume has just come from a tour date. Straight to come play fives. JJ Okocha, Ian Hart, gammon.
Eating packets of gammon. Full packets of gammon.
Wait, is it wafer thin or is it like...
Wafer thin, like farm foods. If there's a fan base there, they're like, is Ian Hart eating packets of gammon, man? What's he doing?
My face hurts from laughing. That's so good. So he's eating yeah, he's having his fizzy Lucozade to wash it down. And it's so good. And then you've got Kasper just sitting there playing his tunes. Your final player in this weird Sons of Connell. Who is it?
It has to be Lee Trundle. Lee Trundle, who I googled last night, by the way, and he's still playing, mate.
He's still playing?
He's still playing. He's like 47. He plays for a non-professional team, but he's still like scoring goals. He's another guy that I was like, I wish Celtic would get.
Yeah. He was him. This is a very showboaty team. Him and JJ Okocha, because Lee Trundle, if you don't know him, getting YouTube compilations, stuff like that, he was an incredible footballer. And he was, his highlight reel must be amazing. He used to score all these class goals, didn't he?
Yeah. I can't even remember who he played for. It was
Swansea?
Yeah.
Swansea, and then he's jumped about to different ones.
Yeah.
That is an amazing... What made you pick him over Henrik Larsson or someone?
You know, that is true. I could have literally picked Messi or Ronaldo, and I was like, no, Lee Trundle.
What was it about Lee Trundle that spoke to you?
Well, we were gigging late last night, and then I got in the house, had a cup of tea, some chocolate. It was like 2 a.m, kind of half awake, half asleep. And honestly, I picked them when I was like
Delirious.
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah, I like it.
half awake, half asleep, and Lee Trundle just popped into my mind. I was like, remember that cunt?
Do you ever go through like late at night just thinking about old footballers? Because I go through late at night thinking about old wrestlers. That's what I do sometimes. I'm like, I wonder if he's in jail or dead.
Aye, what's he up to?
Aye. So like, do you do that with footballers?
I always think, to get myself to sleep, I would be like, what would I be like if I was a football manager?
Oh, that's good. We'll come on to that. I said, what would you be like as a football manager?
Yeah, and what would I do? What's the system that I would have?
Right, so talk to me.
Right, so if I had a youth player and I sold a youth player, the money would go into youth development.
Okay, so you've got ethics.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, so what else?
Lots of packets of gammon would be involved. Mostly for myself. And Lucas said,
just that wee fridge.
Aye.
And it's just...
I'd be like that to 15-year-olds. Ian Hart, play like him.
Get the gap.
Google him, right?
What would you happen if one of your players was a veggie?
I'd be all right with that. I was a veggie.
What's the gammon replacement though?
I've not thought that far ahead. That's a very... They're going with foot then.
Dropped.
No food. They're not allowed to eat. They can eat in the bus, but they're not eating in my changing room. Sorry.
What are they having in the bus then?
They can eat whatever they want.
Right, okay. So the bus
John
is...
Hartson, packet of Pringles.
Yeah, so they're eating Pringles in the bus, but all the veggies aren't allowed in the pros. So your main philosophies as a football manager are you'd fund the youth system by selling youth players. You have gammon in the dressing room. What? Give me a third one. What are you wearing on the touchline?
Oh, I'm not wearing a suit.
You're not?
No way.
I don't think I've ever seen you in a suit, have I?
Yeah, never. I wouldn't even wear a suit at the Kings, mate. The best gig of my life. I'd probably black t-shirt.
I have seen you. Do you not wear a suit to the Kings when we did it? When we did that gig there years ago. It was like me, you, Nelson, Ken Bridges.
We done the charity.
Yeah.
I think I might have wore a suit jacket.
Was it a suit jacket?
Aye.
Because I remember you messaging me saying what you wearing. I was like, I'm not wearing a suit. And then Nelson, and do you remember Jim Smith that
Aye,
night?
aye.
So Jim Smith, brilliant Scottish comedian, farmer, turned up in this black suit. And I remember Fred McCauley, Mark Nelson said, why are you wearing a funeral suit?
Aye.
And he laughed, and then Jim went into his pocket and brought out an order of service from a funeral he'd been at. And I was like, oh, you are wearing a funeral suit at the gig? That's amazing. So, okay, so what would you wear then? Tracky? Are you a tracky if you're the manager?
To play mind games, I would probably wear a onesie. Like, like, you know how those, like, fluffy onesies?
Yeah.
Like a Teletubby onesie?
Yeah.
I'd wear that.
So you're going like full Pikachu, full like
Yeah.
Tinky Winky on the touch?
Yep.
Hood up?
Hood up.
Zipped up fully?
Aye.
What if you got
Non-verbal. Like,
just standing there dressed as like Dipsy for 90 minutes? Just there.
Dipsy.
Eating gammon.
High packets of gammon, man. I'm actually craving gammon now, man. Like, genuinely, I'm hungry.
Who's your manager of your team then? Because the rules are you have the one player from the team you support. You've got that in Casper Schmeichel. The manager needs to be someone in your phone book. It could be a normal person. It could be a footballer. It could be a comedian. It could be anyone. Who do you think would be the best manager from your own personal phone book? Darren Connell.
Okay. So the Samaritans, can on.
That's quite a good shout, actually.
I think they would be very kind. They'd be very kind. They would let people eat gammon and stuff. Maybe I'd be a terrible manager.
Tactically, do you think they'd be all right, the Samaritans? Think?
As long as you try your best, that's all that matters.
That's such a good shout. Are you settling on the Samaritans?
No.
Or are you thinking something? Okay.
I've actually got a guy, Simon Donnelly.
Okay.
That's who would be my manager.
Former Celtic, Sheffield Wednesday player.
Former Celtic.
Partick Thistle
yes.
player as well. Why Simon Donnelly and how did you get his number?
So looking through my phone book and I was just thinking,
it's so fun doing that,
for
innit?
football.
Aye.
Like genuinely for football, he would be the best choice. I think I got his number because he asked me about running a gig somewhere, but it never quite worked out. And for a while we were chatting and it was just banter. But because I've got no filter, He took it really well, by the way, but I was like, I love you, you cunt. Like, I remember I met
Was
him
that the
once
last
and I was like,
message,
I can't believe you stopped the 10, you cunt, and you're asking me to run a gig.
That wee noise.
I know.
Oh, melancholy. So, are you still friends, or you just got his number?
No, we're still friendly. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a professional kind of like, I'm not going to be like, what you up to tonight, mate?
Aye.
You watching the Squid Game?
What you wear?
Aye. Here, mate, do you want to come into the podcast today? He'd probably tell me to fuck off for that. But
okay.
we've had some banter, and
Nice.
he likes a few tweets and he's shared a few things. And
So, Simon Donnelly's going as your manager, or are you going with Samaritans? Which one are you picking?
it has to be Simon Donnelly
Yeah, okay.
because he has my best pal. So
Yeah. Right, to recap your team, what are we going for? Donnells, Connells, or Sons of Connell?
do you know? Because I'm an egomaniac, Sons of Connell.
Sons of Connell, the director of Football Blueprint in his Dipsy onesie has put his print on this.
What do you think about my policy of instantly selling youth, then investing that money into youth development?
I think it's a good policy. If you want me to be very football about it, due to current PRS rules, that is actually what most clubs will have to do in order, because if you sell a youth player, you get 100% of that fee into your things. Whereas if you say you buy someone on a 5-year contract and you sell them after a year, you only get 20% of that allowance to put into your fees. A football journalist once explained this all to me. You would actually have a very good player trading model if you did that, Darren.
So there's method behind the madness.
There is. Who's the first one you're going to trade in your youth policy? Are you going to go for the 38-year-old Casper Schmeichel, the 40-something-year-old JJ Okocha, the who'd be the youngest in your team? Probably Casper. Yeah. Lee Trundle, what do you say? He's like 47?
I think so.
So Casper's getting sold to fund the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me recap your team. You're called the Sons of Connell. You have a very fluid formation. Everyone can play wherever. So your team is Casper Schmeichel, Ian Hart, JJ Okocha, Serge from Kasabian, and Lee Trundle. The manager is Simon Donnelly. The only food in the changing room is gammon and Lucozade. So serious.
I'm like, yeah, write that down. That has to be a hang, or it's not going to work.
And how do you feel about hearing that back? You happy with your delirious thoughts at 2 a.m. last night?
Yeah, I'm actually giddy. Like, my cheeks are getting red. I'm like, I want to make that happen.
Let's do it. Right, okay, so that is your team.
By the way, I know that you work in work in radio, media,
Yeah.
you're quite clued up in football. Could you get in touch with Lee Trundle?
I probably could, yeah.
Could you make that happen?
I probably could. I think I'm maybe 1 degree of separation away from Lee Trundle.
Could you send him a message?
What would you like me to... Right, I'll write this down for you just now. What would you like me to send to Lee Trundle?
Just say, I don't know if you know Scott Squad.
It might.
Just be like, are you still playing football, mate? Would you have ever played for Celtic? And I'm with a comedian called Darren Connell that was in Scott Squad, and he was just asking for you. No, wait a minute. Say, would you have ever played for Celtic, and did you ever have packets of gammon before a game?
Would you have ever played for Celtic, and would you ever have packets of gammon before a game?
But put it in a kind way. I don't want them to think we're taking the piss.
I think we definitely are.
Yeah.
Darren, spectacular team choice. Where can people get tickets to see you? You do regular ones at Blackfriars. Just give everything a wee plug just now.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. Well, I run a weekly gig at Blackfriars, which is for professionals like yourself to come down and have some fun, try some new material. It's only £4. You can get a ticket on Skiddle. But the big one for me is the Kings in March.
So that's the King's Theatre in Glasgow.
Yes, Thursday the 27th of March, and that's the biggest gig of my life. And it would really mean a lot if people like my comedy, if they could come along and see the show. It's called My Name's Darren Connell. This is my self-tape. I've not even wrote it, mate. There's going to be bottles of Lucozade. I'm going to be talking about Ian Hart for 90 minutes. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited. I'm glad to be back at the Comedy Festival. You can get tickets on the Glasgow Comedy Festival website or the King's Theatre website. You can add me on Facebook. It's just Darren Connell Comedian, or Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, check it out. And Darren, possibly a tour afterwards. You're going to check out some other places?
It's all in the It's in the plan.
Great.
Aye.
Great. And Darren's got a podcast as well called
Straight White Whale,
Great.
which
So-
racist taxi drivers get confused about.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good too.
Because I say straight white whale and they're like, yes, finally, we're taking it back. I'm like, no, it's whale.
Yeah.
You idiot.
So good. Check that out. And once again, Darren, thank you for coming on Fantasy Fives and thank you for an exceptional gammon based team.
I love you.